Welcome back to today's lesson with Beauty. Today is all about trotting, forward motion at a trot, staying accountable, where when we ask for the trot, she maintains the trot. And then we're going to look for steering and forward motion at the trot through the turns. So we're going to do a little bit of quarter turns, and then eventually we're going to do a full figure eight where she can be trotting the whole time. So we'll see if we can get that far today, but that is the goal. So with these lessons, everything that I teach step by step, we try to work on one thing at a time. So if you feel like you need to break this lesson up into two different lessons or 2 different days, please do that. Again, I don't know how far we're going to get with Beauty. We might get all the way to the figure eight. I'm just not sure, but I wanted to give you that little preface. Don't feel like you've got to stay in here for 40 minutes to try to get that forward motion, full figure eight at a trot. That might not happen today, okay? But that's the goal. So really it's just two pieces here. When you're working with a round pen, the first goal is that we want to get a trot and we want to get one full revolution of a trot around the round pen. Don't worry if it's not perfectly on the edge of the round pen. We're going to address that later. A lot of times colts will want to veer off. What I like to do is just pick a direction. So let's say I'm going to go to the right on the round pen. And just for the most part, make a circle to the right. If they duck off there, if they weave in there, that's okay. We're going to fix that later. Right now, it's all about focusing on forward motion, okay? And sustaining the momentum of the forward motion. So just like we did it with a walk, right? The first couple of days, all we were worried about is getting them to take a couple steps, right? And then we worked on, okay, when I ask you to walk, you need to keep walking. So if everything within my body is saying walk, okay? And so I cluck and smooch, I send her off, she starts to walk, my energy is up, I'm picking a point over here, I'm looking forward on my circle, my energy is up, maybe I'm in the front of the saddle a little bit, then she needs to be able to read that and continue walking because that's what I'm asking. Now, if I were to sit, then that's going to ask her to and say whoa or easy. That's going to ask her to slow down or stop, okay? So we always want to start the question with our body and then extend it out through our voice, extend it out through our arms, extend it out through our legs. So if your body is sitting way back here, okay, and you're asking for a walk and you're slouchy and there's nothing in your energy and you're clucking and smooching, your horse is going to be like, this sack of potatoes, like, should I walk? Should I not? It's so much better if your whole body is communicating that first and then you take a step up, okay? So that's really what we're going to practice today. We're going to practice that body language with you and transferring that to your colt and then your colt staying accountable to that. So that's part one. And then the next part, we're just going to do some quarter turns. So it might look like a hexagon. It might look like we're cutting the pen in half. Like there's no really rhyme or reason. It's kind of left, right, left, like whatever we need. And we're just going to focus on, hey, when we're at a trot and I pick up my rein, will she turn? If she braces, if she does whatever, then we need to break it down and we need to get that turn first. And likely they will come down to a walk. And so once she softens with her turn, then I can give her back the rein and then we'll start again. And then eventually we're going to end on a figure eight. So I just tightened the cinch. I walked her around and I just did a little bit of sending out and drawing in. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm just going to bend her. Good girl. And then bend her this way. Good girl. Good. Okay, so we're walking. And then we're going to steer. Good. Very nice. I just anticipated her slowing down a little bit there. And so what I want to do here is just pick a spot over on the fence. And then when I get there, I'm going to turn my body. Good. And I'm going to extend that through my rein. Okay. I'm going to look over here. I'm going to turn my body and extend my rein. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to go left. I'm going to look here. look, turn my body, and then left rein. Very nice. Okay, so let's see if I can do some figure eights. So I'm gonna make a circle here. I'm turning my body, and she's pushing out with that shoulder, so I'm really gonna reinforce that turn. And I gave up on my figure eight because I really just needed to, good. I really just needed to focus on getting her soft in the turn. Good, good. And the challenge when you're riding out in an arena like this is that she wants to go to the opposite end of the arena to see her buddies. So that's why right here, she is pushing through that shoulder, and I need to, good. I really need to get that turn. I'm not just gonna let her push through that shoulder right there. That's not feet following face. Okay, turn. Good. I'm just gonna add a little bit of bump with my legs when she starts to stall out. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Okay, she's pushing through that shoulder, so I'm gonna send her out. So that's probably gonna be the biggest issue when I'm gonna get her up to a trot. When I get her to a trot, it's gonna be, she's gonna wanna go run over to her buddies. Good. And not wanna do the figure eight, but we'll see what we can do. Good girl. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple trot transitions and just see where that takes us. All of this looks really good. So what I do with trot transitions is, again, I'm just focusing on getting her up to a trot. And with a horse like Beauty, she's, let's just say she's a little bit, can get really dysregulated. And so I just want to, good. Just want to be able to direct her, and I'm just going to keep my hands a little low. Good. And I have this fence here. Okay, so I'm going to get some forward motion through the turn here. Good. Good. Very nice. Whole body's turning. Good. Good girl. Okay, let's change directions. I'm going to stop her there and just let her know she's a good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so that was one revolution around. Okay. That was one revolution around. So now we're going to do one revolution this way. Okay. Good. Good. Okay, so she's pushing through that shoulder. That's okay. Good. Okay, just get her turned back around here. Everything's okay. I'm actually going to turn her this way. Good. Good. Okay, then I'm going to turn her this way. Good. 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 Very good. Good. I'm looking where I want to go. Ask her to stop. Oh. Just give a little. Good girl. Okay, we'll call that a day. Good girl. Good girl. Very good. Way farther along than I thought, okay? Okay, so let's just break down what we did there. The very first thing that we want to accomplish in this lesson is forward motion. At least, can you get one revolution around the right side and then going the left side of the round pen at a trot, okay? You don't need a perfect circle. You don't need to keep them right on the edge of the rail. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about all of that. Just in general, when I asked you to trot, will you stay trotting for at least one revolution around, okay? If they go for longer, let them go for longer, okay? Just let them go. Just keep letting them go. If they want to go 5 revolutions around, let them go, okay? Because what we're doing is we're like, oh my gosh, you're really getting this is good. So just keep your energy up and just allow them to keep trotting, right? And that's different than if they're in a really dysregulated state and they're just like running around the pen. That's not what we want. If you feel like it's becoming a really fast trot and you're continuing to gain speed, all you need to do is make contact on your rein, bring them into the center of the arena and just ask for a walk, ask for a stop, okay? I was really expecting Beauty might try to do that. And so that's like your emergency brake. If you feel you don't need to panic, a lot of times when colts pick up speed like that, like it's really good for them to find that rhythm. But if you feel like they're dysregulated or they're panicked or they're flighty and they're picking up speed and it doesn't feel like you have control, take your inside rein and make contact with it and get them into the center of the pen and do a 1 rein stop, okay? And then once they stop and once they're soft, then you can let them go and then try again. So basically what you're telling them is, no, we're trotting at this speed. And if you continue to go, if you go faster, that's not what I want. That's not the right answer, okay? So that's something to look out for. And then if you're having a horse that just will not continue to keep with the forward motion and can make 1 revolution, it's okay. Try to get a half, right? Try to get a little bit more than you normally would. And then just keep working on that, right? Don't be afraid, again, to have the end of your rein and just tap. When you cluck and smooch, just tap your leg, right? So all your horse does is hear that. They can't feel it. So that's what you want to do there to really encourage them to get going. And then anticipate. You can feel when they're starting to slow down, right? So you can very gently just bump with your legs and cluck and smooch and go like this. And very soon they're going to understand, oh, I can't slow down. Okay, so those are some problem-solving skills to have there. And then when we're doing the figure 8, ultimately what we're doing is we don't need to have this perfect figure 8, right? In your mind, you're probably thinking, okay, I need to have this beautiful circle, and then I'm going to come into the middle of the round pen, and then I'm going to switch directions, and it's going to be so beautiful. That's not going to happen. Like you can see out here, I wasn't worried about getting her perfectly to the edge of the arena. Like all I was worrying about was when I take this right rein and go, my left rein, and I go like this when she's at a trot, she actually turns and she follows her feet. The figure 8 is just for your brain to have a drill to be able to do so that you feel like, oh, wow, we're actually accomplishing something, right? Oh, now that we've changed directions, oh, I'm going to go over here. So you saw, and when you go back and rewatch this lesson, you saw that when I was coming around here, I think it was coming around here doing the figure 8, and I don't know what she did. She wasn't turning or she did something. I completely dropped the figure 8 and I just focused on what my horse was giving me at that moment, which was she is bracing against, so I'm turning her head, right? And her head's turned, but she continues to go straight. She's pushing through that shoulder because her friends are over here. I don't know if you can even see me in the camera. So what I did, I stopped even thinking about the figure 8, right? And I stopped and I said, okay, she's not listening. She's not turning right. So I need to drop everything, drop the drill, drop the exercise, drop the intention. And I just need to focus on my horse's bracing against the turn. So I need to really get her like into a 1 rein stop and her softened up. And I don't care if she walks over there to do it, if she stops immediately, if she continues to walk all the way over to the edge of that pen, I'm going to be working on this. I don't care where she's moving, and I'm just looking at her and I'm making sure, oh, and then when she stops and when she softens, boom, that's it, okay? So that's how I do a lot of horse training with barrels, with breakaway, teaching them something. It's like I have an idea of what I want to do in my head, figure 8 drill, for example. But if I'm doing a figure 8 and then all of a sudden my horse is not she's not following a feel with the rein, and maybe it's just the right side. I'm going to make sure I'm doing right turns until it softens up, and then we'll go back to the figure 8. So that's just a fun thing to do, fun thing to keep in mind when you're training horses. So that is the lesson. We accomplished a lot. Again, don't be afraid if you need to split it up into a couple days, 3 days. Take your time, meet your horse where you're at, but also be brave. Your horse is ready for this. You can do this. If Beauty can do this, any horse can do this, I feel like. So, anyways, I will see you guys in the next lesson.